AskReddit by I fucking love it I just. Instead of Twitter, what large thing could Elon Musk potentially have bought for $44 billion? He could have bought every professional sports franchise in New York City. But if he thinks he gets criticism now, just wait till Bill from White Plains calls in on WFAN. I tell ya what, this Elon Musk guy doesn't know what he's doing with the offensive line. $1 billion would get him the entire Motown copyright catalog, which actually would make him money. You can buy approximately 698 F-16 jets with $44 billion. Melt them down and build one F-16 that's 698 times larger than a regular F-16. He could have bought 880 billion gumballs and chewed them all into one giant wad of gum. Then roll it around trapping people. He could have bought a 2-bedroom bungalow in Vancouver. It's $44 billion in US dollars, so maybe a 3-bedroom. 0.142% of the US national debt. Holy shit, that puts things in perspective. My brain can't comprehend trillions. How the fuck can you be 33 trillion in debt? And to whom? OP here. My personal theory is if he planned it well enough and moved quietly enough, he could have purchased all of Rhode Island. But then he'd own Rhode Island. The latest stories suggest that Musk threatened to sue Warner Brothers if they fired Amber Heard. He could have just bought Warner Brothers for $26 billion and used the other $18 billion to make his own MCU Musk cinematic universe all about how great he is. As terrible as it sounds, it probably still would have lost him money at a slower rate than Twitter has. Deleted. At least 3 Supreme Court justices. You're overpaying. A boat ride and a rent works for some, the other you just need to give beer and pay his credit card. They are on sale. Could have built 300 Elon Musk junior high schools, for kids that can't math good. What if those kids wanted to learn to do other stuff good too? Disney bought Star Wars for $4 billion, so I like to think that Elon paid 11 Star Wars for Twitter, which is, well, he could definitely have bought Star Wars and probably Marvel and had plenty left over. A seat at the table with me. TF, are you gonna do on the table? He could have done what billionaires of the past did and built beautiful libraries, public baths, monuments, bridges, schools etc. that everyone can use and admire for free forever, with his name on it, that we chip off after he dies. And he'd still have enough to buy Twitter for the amount it was actually worth. I grew up a block away from my Carnegie Library. It was one of the most beautiful buildings in town, and filled to the ceiling with books. A lot of good memories there. For roughly half of that number, a desalination plant including solar power generation that pumps fresh water up the Colorado River to water farms etc., reducing the need to take water from the river itself, enabling renaturalizing it. Nearly 3/4 of San Diego's water comes from the Colorado River. You don't even need to pump it upstream, just use your giant desalination plant as San Diego's water and electricity supply. Downside is that desalination plants are giant nuclear reactors, and while I love nuclear reactors as a green energy option, they probably should be built away from coastal earthquake zones. So I guess we need a bunch of wind or solar energy farms to power this desalination plant. He bought Twitter for $44 billion? Fucking idiot, I downloaded it for free. Bet he paid for WinZip too. A really cool boat. Found Steve Jobs' account. I've seen him talk about what it would take to give the entire US renewable energy for life. He could have used the money to build that and been the #1 energy supplier for the entire country, which would make him way more money. Instead he goes on Twitter telling us all to have more kids when most of us can't even afford housing, food etc. The most frustrating thing is when billionaire CEOs like him make such a big fuss about people not having kids. Then you look at the policies they have at their own businesses that makes it impossible for their own employees to start a family. They are either vastly underpaid or given no work-life balance, encouraged to sleep at the office, etc. As usual, the billionaires want someone else to address the problem so they can personally profit from it. He probably could have bought all of North Korea's nukes and had $40 billion left over and got a free Nobel Peace Prize on top of it. Best Korea's nukes are literally priceless. They are currently the Remainer country insurance. Reddit. It's worth 10 billion, we aren't safe. Building around 4,400 new public schools or 4.4 million new MRI machines. MRI machines cost added more than $10,000. An ice cream cone for literally everyone on the planet. Here's your complimentary Musk cone. No thanks, I'll pass. A 44,000 green dresses. But not 44,000 real green dresses, that's cruel. You take my upvote, you magnificent human. The mental health treatment he desperately needs. 44B wouldn't even scratch the surface of that mess. Musk supposedly is a techno-transhumanist, though I forget what the more accurate phrase is supposed to be. That is, his only ethics is supposed to be to advancing technology enough to get humans settling other planets. The thing is, rather than accumulating money and starting pissing contests with the world's mega wealthy, if Elon really wants to get humanity off the planet as quickly generational wise as possible, he needs to stop ignoring the poor man's plight. A well-fed and well-educated population will advance technology far quicker than whatever he thinks he can do alone. How many truly great scientists and innovators never realize their potential because they never got a chance in school life? The biggest irony is he chose Tesla as a name. He is more an Edison than Tesla if you get into the backstory. For 44 billion. Could not he had started his own rival to Twitter? Mostly he bought the users, not the tech. A giant phallus to send into space. Oh wait. No rocket's more phallic than Bezos' new Shepard. The entire NHL. Mar-a-Lago according to Trump. But his tax returns say it's only worth $1.98. He could have bought me. It's his loss. Buy everyone I want. Good quality control for his fucking cars. A personality. I'm not sure of the amount, but didn't he said he will donate some billions to the UN if they can prove they can use to it feed certain amount of people in poverty? And the UN actually showed how to feed them with that billions amount and Elon backed off? Yeah, it was something like $6 billion I think. He could have bought 7 Washington football teams. A movie studio. A cable company and a few cable channels. He'd have a profitable platform for airing any ideas he wants, as well as charging others to join the platform to air their ideas as well. The amount of homeless and debt he could have helped with could have made humanity a much better place. This $44 billion would pay healthcare costs for hundreds of thousands if not millions of Americans. Or would probably fix the homeless crisis in any number of major cities. And he'd be practically worshipped for it. But he's Elon, so of course that would never happen. The Starship Enterprise's holodeck. My mom. 44 billion times? Sorry, I had to. It's probably good he didn't buy a country considering the way he's run Twitter into the ground. For $44 billion, he could have spent $120 million a day for 1 year on whatever, anything and everything, and still have $200 million left over. Could be chaotic for the economy and potentially impact inflation. Or Purchase $88 million in stocks for every single one of the Fortune 500 companies. This would be a disaster to have such an unhinged person having that influence on several companies, and I'm glad he didn't do that. Or give $75,000 to 500,000 people randomly. Or paid for universal free lunch for all school-aged children for 2 years, and still have $2 billion left over.